He called me and said, listen, he said, you tell my people I've heard their cry. I've been hearing their cry for 420 plus years. You know, I personally don't want to have to wait that long, 420 years. I mean, it'd be cool if I had that much time granted to us, you know, but I'm thinking, you know, but God knows the time and God knows when to answer. God knows how to answer. And God knows each and every situation. And know that He hears you. And here's the good slash bad part. He hears you when you ain't even talking to Him. That gets folks going on it. Wait a minute, do what? Oh, yeah. Well, I couldn't find my football screen. You know, I was telling Tony, man, over the years I've built so many of them. But today is Super Bowl Sunday, or how shall we say, it's rigged, let's go. You know, however you want to say it, you know, it is Super Bowl Sunday. And it seems like who's back in it? Oh, yeah, the Patriots. Oh, yeah, of course, they're in it, you know. And like I say, Rick, it is one more time they get to go out there and try to do something. It's them against the Eagles. And to be honest, I'm going to watch the first 15 seconds of it, because if somebody scores within 14 seconds, there's this big deal with one of the, I think it's Papa John's or some of the Caesar or one of the pizza places that will give you free pizza for a year if they score within it if you do so. Y'all be watching at least the first 14 seconds, because if they can beat the record, you can win free pizza for a year. That's definitely going to be worth it. But when you look at the Patriots, they're kind of like I was almost going to call this, you know, down but not out. You know, because I thought about, you know, wrestling. I used to love to watch wrestling growing up, you know, and you know, everybody say, you know it's fake. Well, it might be fake, but yeah, I heard and saw an interview with Vic Flair and Dusty Rhodes and all them. They'd hit people and say, you think this is fake? They hit them with a chair. And they go, well, that hurts. He goes, yeah, it ain't fake. We were going to hit them with a chair. And so they went on and on and on. And finally it was like, yes, we know the outcome, okay? We know what's going to happen, but we have to put on a good show. So if you know the outcome, okay, fine, do what you got to do, but just make sure the outcome goes that way. And I would always look, you know, especially in tag team, there would be somebody that was pinned on that mat. And here will come the referee, you know, 1, 2, and if they had a tag team partner, they'd always run in, grab the ref, kick the person in the back, which I never understood this, they'd kick them straight down, and the guy would roll over. But hey, do what you have to do to give it a good show. So they would sit there and always down, but not out. And I got to thinking, well, that kind of does go with how the Patriots have been doing the past couple of years. So I decided we're going to call this one a fourth quarter miracle. Because it seems like no matter how far they are down, let's see, last year, oh yeah, that was against the Falcons. What were they down? 88 points. I don't know, it wasn't that much. They were down half of a football game. And somehow Atlanta can't score again. And the Patriots can score just enough to get that little special award that was waiting just for Mr. Brady on the other side. You know, it's just like, come on, folks. A fourth quarter miracle. But I have sat there and seen team after team pull out one of those fourth quarter miracles. They somehow or another, they can't play the whole game. You give them 2 minutes and they can drive 6,000 yards and score 12 times. I don't know how, but they can. It's something about the fourth quarter. They know that if we don't do this, we're going to lose. If I can't get this and if we can't get these scores, we're not going to win. So they give it all they got. They give everything that's left within them, laying on the line, because they know they've got, this is their last chance. If they can't get this, they are going to lose, and there's nothing else that can be done. You'll see them do those Hail Marys or those trick plays, and I know I've seen it, and y'all seen it a bunch too, how they'll give it to somebody, and they'll come by and battle with somebody, and they'll come by and battle with somebody, you know. I ain't never really seen that play ever go down and win, but they will try anything and everything to win. Well, folks, in our life, we're going to have some fourth quarter miracles sometimes come our way. Because we might be playing this game, we're in the game of life, and we might be playing it to what we think is the best of our ability, when really we might be slacking off a little bit in the back. We might not be giving it all we can. But even if we are, when you get down to that last minute, those last 2 minutes, that last chance, that last play, you better hang on. You better do all you can. Grit your teeth. Straighten your back. Make sure that you can carry the whole team if you have to get to that finish line. Because what is waiting on the other side is the victory that God has promised us. And if we will hold on, you talking about an end zone or a touchdown dance. Wait, son, till God says, enter in, my good and faithful servant. Wait till you see the dance that you're going to want to do then as the Holy Ghost falls upon. Wait till you see the celebration time that's going to begin when you make heaven your home, because you held on and you got that fourth quarter miracle.
Amen.
In the book of 2 Kings, there was these 4 men. And so they had just about had it all. They had been kicked out, cast out. They had been set aside. They were lepers. And of course, with lepers, you were kicked out. Nobody wants to be around you because nobody wants the deadly disease that you have. And so they're outside. War is going on. There's a famine in the land. It seems like nothing is going right. But there is certainly nothing going right for these 4 men who cannot only not get in the gates for protection, they can't get in the gate for food, they can't get in the gate for drink. They have to sit outside and so far away from the city and just wait and see what happens. But you know what happens when you get to that spot where it seems like you got nothing to lose. And it says, and there were 4 leprous men at the entering of the gate, and they said one to another, why sit here until we die? Folks, you better get that attitude in your mind. Why in the world am I just going to sit here and wait? Why should I just sit here and let death come upon me? Why don't I at least get up and try to do something? Let me at least try. If we say that we will enter into the city, then the famine that is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit still here, we're going to die also. Now therefore come and let us fall into the host of the Syrians, and if they save us alive, we shall live. But if they kill us, then we shall but die. In other words, we can sit out here and we can die. We can try to get back into the city if they would let us sneak in. Maybe they would put us over here in a certain spot. Maybe they would put us where we're confined. Maybe they would put us where we're quarantined and nobody can get to us. But what good is that going to do? The city is starving to death. They got nothing either. Why do I want to go from this place of death just to this place of death? But I want to do something. And they look in the Syrians, which are outside, waiting to come in and to take over the city, because of course they've got it surrounded so nobody can get in and out to get the food and water. And they say, I tell you what, let's do this. Let's go over to the Syrian side. Let's just go over there and walk in the camp, and maybe, just maybe, they will take us. Maybe, just maybe, they might have a little pity upon us. Or who knows, they might see us coming, and maybe they will just give us some food and water and say, stay over there, we'll lay it out here for you. Or like they said, or maybe they might just kill us. And what was the next thing? I love that part. It says, and if they kill us, we shall but die. But die. In other words, we're going to die anyways. So we might as well do something. The Bible says that they all got up, or all 4 of them. They rose up in the twilight to go into the camp of the Syrians. And when they were come to the uttermost part of the camp of Syria, behold, there was no man there. For the Lord had made the host of the Syrians to hear a noise of chariots and a noise of horses, even the noise of a great host. And they said one to another, Lo, the king of Israel hath hired against us the king of the Hittites and the king of the Egyptians to come upon us. These 4 men, evidently, God had blessed the noise that they would make. You ever tried to walk quietly? It's hard to do. You ever tried to walk noisily? Sometimes that's even hard to do because there's nothing you can step on. But for some reason, when these 4 men got up and started going, evidently God touched and magnified their footsteps, magnified their clothes rubbing against each other. He made every sound as if it was something else. And it says that the whole camp of the Syrians got up and left. And here comes these 4 men walking in. Look what we've got. We've got fresh food. We've got fresh clothes. We've got water. Look at the spoils that lay before us. Why? Because they did not give up. They had their 4th quarter miracle. They were waiting. They waited to the last moment, holding out as long as they could. And finally it was, I got to do something. I got to do something out of the ordinary. Else what am I going to do? I'm either going to sit here and die, or I can take my chances by walking on and doing something. Folks, when you get down to the spot to where you don't know what to do, you're sitting there, well, if I stay here, this is going to happen. If I go here, this is going to happen. Well, get up and do something. Don't sit there and wait for it to happen, because God can perform a miracle with every step that you take. All you got to do is trust and believe. Let the power come up within you. Let that boldness go and walk towards your enemy. Never go away from your enemy, but go to him. Go to his own turf. When I was in the MIP, I remember one of the guys said, one of the teachers, he was a pastor, he said, folks, let me tell you this. Always run to the fire. Never run away for it. Get to it so you can put it out while it's small. Don't wait for it to build and explode, but get to it as quick as you can. When you start walking and you go towards your enemy, you're not allowing him time to dig in. You're not allowing him time to set up. All you're doing is taking him by surprise. When God walks with you, folks, it doesn't matter if it's 4 against a whole army, or if it's 4 million against an army. If God is on your side, you hold on. Your 4th quarter miracle is in the wings. It's about to happen. Amen. Another man, Naaman. Here he is, captain of the host of a king of Syria. This was just like, I don't know, a couple of chapters before in Kings. He hears about excuse me, the God of Israel. And there, he hears about how good he's been healing. He hears about how the miracles that's being performed. And he looks down at his skin, and he looks down at his body, and he too has come up with this leprosy. And he's sitting there, and he goes to him, and he takes his servant with him, and they go to him, and they're like, what must I do? I have heard so much about you. What must I do? I am a captain over all these men. I am a man that's revered. I am a man that's honored. But now I've got this disease where I'm going to be kicked out. I'm going to lose everything in life. I'm going to lose my commission. I'm eventually going to lose my own life. What can I do that I can do that I can be healed? So he says, you've got to go and dip. 2 Kings 5:1. Now Naaman, the captain of the host, the king of Syria, was a great man with his master, and honorable, because by him the Lord had given deliverance unto Syria. He was also a mighty man in valor, but he was a leper. But Naaman was wroth, and he went away and said, behold, I thought he would surely come out to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, and strike his hand over the place and recover the leper. Are not Abana and Pharpar and rivers of Damascus better than all the waters of Israel? May I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned away, and he went in a rage. And his servants came near and spake unto him and said, my father, if the prophet had bid thee to do something great, wouldest thou not have done it? How much rather then, when he said to thee, wash and be clean? Then he went down and he dipped himself 7 times in the Jordan, according to the sayings of the man of God, and his flesh came again unto like the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. And he returned to the man of God, and he and his company, and they came and stood before him, and said, behold, now I know that there is no God in all the earth, but in Israel. Now therefore I pray thee, take a blessing of thy servant. Naaman was sitting there, and he was given, and the prophet told him, he said, you've got to go down and dip into the Jordan. How many times has God told you to go do something, or to go just perform a task, yet you thought, my, how petty, how little, how disgusting, you know, of a task that could be. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name, but the guy just come to me. He was a famous spokesperson. He was a Christian speaker back off in the, I think it was the 90s, 80s and 90s. And he said he was, at one time he was actually in out in California. He was in the Church of Lucifer, and he had gotten out of it, and he was sitting there working for God. And he said he come upon this guy in the Navy, and he was trying his best to witness to him and to get him to turn his life over to God. And he says he finally got him, and then he told this other story about how he goes, and he's his neighbor guy, and he's sitting there, and the house was just, it was run down, and everything was just, you know, everything was just terrible. And he said, I don't want to, he said, I'll clean the house and everything, God, but I don't want to clean that toilet. He said, I've been in there and I looked in that toilet, it's just disgusting. It's just built up all in it, all around it. It's just nasty, you know. And he said, God, I just don't want to have to do that toilet. He said, I cleaned that house all day long. I cleaned that kitchen. I cleaned everything. And he said, I got in the bed at night and I laid there. God, look at all the great work we did. Look at everything that we've done. Oh, how great it was. That man's got a clean house. He said, I laid there all night and I couldn't sleep. All night long, all I could think about was, I didn't clean that man's toilet. And I'm sitting there thinking as he was telling this story, man, I don't blame you. You know, toilets are nasty. You know what goes in them. You know what goes evidently on them and around them. And he was sitting there and said it hadn't been cleaned probably since it had been installed. And he was sitting there and finally he said, God just wouldn't let me sleep all night long. Finally I went over there and cleaned that toilet. And he said, oh, the blessings then that come to me, that come to this man. Folks, sometimes God's going to ask us to do a duty that we might think is a duty. But if we will follow what God tells us. Amen. Don't worry about what you think. Don't worry about what the world thinks. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks about you. Just go and do what God said. Yeah. When you get down to that point anyways, where you can't do nothing, you can't think of nothing, you're like Naaman, I can't get my healing, but yet he still gets his ego and his pride all up in the way, then why in the world can't I just go to some other cleaning river? Well, why won't you go to where you're told he's going to get you healing at? Sometimes our ego and our pride gets so much in the way that God can't use us, and God has to break it, take it, tear it down, and get it out of the way. Right. But the only way you're going to get your fourth quarter miracle is if you take that pride, take that ego, take it down, and see things the way that God is showing it, and do things the way that God is telling you to do it. Amen. Name of your service is like, sir, if he had told you to do something great and grand, would you not have done it? He goes, well, yeah, I would have, of course. And he goes, well, he told you something simple, just go dip in a river. When Naaman goes down, of course, he dips and comes back up. So I think 7 times, comes back up. And finally, he's clean and he's pure. I bet you first thought in his mind was, man, I'm so glad I did this. Man, this might be some muddy waters, but I am so glad that I listened to what God said. I might not like it. Maybe this water has a foul stench, but I can wash the foul stench off. But now I'm healed. Now I'm whole. Now I'm going to live. Now I'm not going to die from the disease that has been put upon me. Folks, when you get to that spot to where you get yourself out of the way and allow God to start working, then watch your miracles start happening. Get what you expect God to treat you, how you expect to be treated, how you expect to be lifted up. And get down and realize that what God is saying is that He is the one to be high and lifted up. We are the ones just to follow. We just need to trust in Him. Not try to put ourselves up here, but realize our place and know that God can heal and you will get your miracle. Amen. There was a man, I've talked about him before in John. He had all kind of health issues. He was sick, he was blind, been blind from birth. He was put over on a spot. I can just imagine everybody probably liked him, you know, it's good enough, felt sorry for him. They made him a spot over here on the way to the temple, made him a spot that everybody had to pass by. And when he would go walking by, he would call out, you know, alms for the blind, would you give me something? Just give me a little bit of something. He needed something to help from everybody else, some help from everybody else to help make it through his day. We do the same things, I guess. We get our paycheck from work. And boy, sometimes I look at it and I think, boy, I wish that was a little bit more. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, about double or triple. Then maybe I could start making it in life, you know. If I could just get some more of that money, if I could just get another means, if I could just get some income to help me out here, I think I'll make it in life. Blind Bartimaeus, boy, he used to holler out. One day Jesus come through. And it says, and they came to Jericho, and he went out to Jericho with his disciples and a great number of people. And blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, sat by the highway side begging. And when he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, Jesus, thou son of David, have mercy on me. You ever notice, like you might on your job or whatever, you might sit around and talk about different things with your co-workers and this, that, and the other. But when the boss comes by, usually people will change their demeanor or change the way they're talking, or they'll change whatever, you know. And it ain't like you might be sitting at the water cooler thinking, man, you ain't had a raise in 3 years talking to your buddy. I need a raise. I'm going to go to them. I'm going to tell them I need a raise. This is getting ridiculous. You know how much milk costs now? You know how much gas is now? And here I am living on the same paycheck, driving through more traffic, you know. Then the boss comes by and, you know, all of a sudden, my throat closes up, tongue shuts up. I thought, wait a minute, you know. And the boss says, hey, I'd like to see you in my office for a minute. Is there something you'd like to tell me? Oh, no, man. Everything's good. It's all good. What are you talking about? I was kind of wondering, you know, when reviews come up, if there's anything that I need to be doing to, you know, help better. You know, but everything just changes. When the man in power goes by, instead of you going to him, you know, that's what blind Bartimaeus did. He said, wait a minute, Jesus is coming through town? Man, I've been sitting here for years and years and years waiting for my miracle. I've been sitting here for all my life waiting. You guys have been great to help me when you can, but I think some of you probably could have gave more. I think some of you could have gave anything, but I've been sitting here waiting. Now there's somebody on the way that I know can change something. And it says, and when he heard that it was Jesus, he began to cry out and say, Jesus, thou son of David, have mercy on me. And many charged him that he should hold his peace. But he cried the more a great deal, thou son of David, have mercy on me. And Jesus stood still and commanded him to be called. And they called the blind man, saying, hey, be of good cheer and comfort, rise, for he calleth thee. And it says he cast away his garment, rose, and came to Jesus. And Jesus said to him, what wilt thou that I shall do unto thee? And the blind man said unto him, Lord, that I might receive my sight. And Jesus said unto him, go thy way, thy faith had made thee whole. And immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus in the same way. Folks, when we all get it mixed up, we don't go to the right person that we need to talk to about the situation. But what we like to do is go to everybody else and complain about the situation. It's so much funner to complain. It's so much funner to make, or easier to make fun of. It's so much better. We feel so good about ourselves when we can talk about the situation instead of rising up, going to the one that can change the situation. Instead of taking steps to get to who can make the situation better for you. Blind Bartimaeus said, hey, look, y'all been great, y'all been good, but it's time for me to get up. It's time for me to get my fourth quarter miracle. Folks, my life is going away, and I've not been able to see nothing. I haven't seen those trees. I haven't seen those buildings. I haven't seen looking somebody eye to eye. I've yet to see the food that I eat. And I only know what it feels like and what it tastes like, but I hear there's a man a-coming that can open my eyes. So y'all can tell me to be quiet all you want, but I'm going for what I know I need. I'm going for that fourth quarter miracle. I'm giving it all I got because the miracle maker is coming to town. Amen. Folks, when Jesus comes through, when you see Jesus, when he's on the scene, do not sit around and wait. Just like the pool, excuse me, when the water was troubled, you had to get in. If you waited before the water had quit, you didn't get your healing. You had to get up and get moving when the water and the Spirit was there. Folks, when Jesus is coming by, when you can feel His Spirit, when you've been waiting long enough, don't let this world try to hold you down. Everybody kept saying, "Blind Bartimaeus, just be quiet, it's the Master." What do you think he was saying? I know that it is. That's how come I'm trying to get a hold of him. I know who he is, but you're not worthy. You just need to sit. No, he created me. He can heal me. He's the only one that can. Folks, you can get your miracle if you don't let the world try to tell you that your miracle ain't waiting.
Yes.
You can get what God has got for you as long as you go to God and get it. Don't expect to get it from anywhere else. You ever bought something, forgot where you bought it, go to take it back? Now this is a big problem at Home Depot and Lowe's, you know, because you lose the bag or whatever and you take it in there and they'll be like, "Sorry, we can't read this SKU number." You know, and I'm like, "Okay, I must have got it," and they'll be like, "From Home Depot." I'm like, "Yep, there's one of you. I just couldn't remember who it was," you know. You can't take it back to where you didn't buy it from. The numbers are different. The parts, everything is in a different order. But if you'll go back to where you got it from, you can exchange it. You can get something better. You can get update. You can get what you need. Folks, when you need something, don't go to the world. Don't sit around to the world. But go back to the one who made you. Go back to the one who created you. Let him give you a good scan over. Let him update, reinvent, and get you the way he's got you so that you can work best for him.
Amen. Right.
There was a father. Parents, y'all know this one. Anytime your kids hurt, you hurt worse. I hear all the other ones except from the 3 kids. They're all like, "I don't think so. I think it's me that's hurting." I hear y'all up there. Everybody's like, you know, you remember when your parents used to say, "This spanking's going to hurt you worse than it does me"? Of course, there was double meaning there, you know. It didn't hurt them physically at all, but mentally, you know, they didn't want to do it. But we had it, we deserved it, we got what we got. But that's saying, man, when your kids hurt, when your kids are sick, when your kids are going through something, man, as a parent, it will tear you up. It can literally and physically make you sick because you worry and the stress is so much. Here's this poor man that has had this child, has been sick, has been tortured, has been possessed. He's been demonic, the Bible says, from the time that he was born. He answered and said to him, "O faithless generation," Jesus was speaking, "how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him unto me." And they brought him unto Jesus. And when he saw him, straightway the spirit tear him, and he fell on the ground, and he wallowed foaming. And he asked his father, "How long is it ago since this came unto him?" And he said, "Of a child. And oftentimes it's cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him, but it cannot do anything. But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help us." And right off the bat, that demon inside this child sees Jesus, and it says he just tears him, he hits the ground, and he starts rolling and foaming at the mouth. See, right off the bat, the demon knew who had the most power. Right off the bat, the demon knew in whose presence he was in. Right off the bat, the demon knew that he was in trouble. Why? Because the 4th quarter miracle was just about to happen. He was fixing to get the score of his life. And he's asking him, says, "How long has it been?" Like, it's always been like this since he was a child. Since he was just a little boy, just a little kid, he's had this. He said, "It's really tore me apart." He says, "If you can do anything, would you just have compassion on us? Would you just have compassion and help us?" Isn't that the desperate cry of a parent? Just have compassion. If you can do anything. I'm not asking you to totally heal. I'm just asking you if you can do anything. Just take away some of it. Take away any of it you can do. Just have some compassion on us. Love us and help us if you can. Man, when you get to that part in your life to where you're down like that, and your miracle, if it don't hurry up and get there, you know what's going to happen. That's the point you're at. You're like, I just don't care. You can be just like those lepers. What am I going to do? Die? You know, you get to that point. Jesus said to him, if thou canst believe, that all things are possible to him that believeth. If thou canst believe. If you can believe that I can help him. If you can believe that I can do this. If you can believe that you've come to the right place, then all things are possible. And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe, but help thou mine unbelief. And when Jesus saw that the people come running together, he rebuked the foul spirit, saying unto him, thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him, and enter into him no more. And the spirit cried and rent him sore, and came out of him, and he was as one dead, insomuch that many said, he is dead. But Jesus took him by the hand, lifted him up, and he arose. Daddy says, look, I believe. I believe, but he says, but can you help my unbelief? You know how that is. You know, we all got that little bit of something. There's always that, just that little doubt. We'll pray and pray and pray and pray and pray about something. God, I believe. Well, we'll psych ourselves up. You know, it's like how the people like to psych up, get the music going fast, and people like, oh, we can get the spirit, we can lift it up, we can just get it all brought up and lifted up. But if your mind and your heart's not in the right place, it's nothing but fast music. It's nothing but a lot of, how shall we say, emotion. It's not a lot of God. And he says, if you can just believe, help my unbelief. Now the Bible doesn't say it. The Bible just says Jesus turned. But can you just imagine, help mine unbelief? What are some things that would have helped his unbelief? You got to think, he could have heard about all the miracles that Jesus had been doing. My guess is he did, or he wouldn't have been there with Jesus. He could have heard about how Jesus has been healing, how Jesus has been touching, how Jesus has been teaching and preaching. He must have, or why else would he be there? Or maybe he's wanting to just see for himself. I believe I've seen what you've done. I've seen how you helped and minister to others. But can you do it for just me? Are you still going to do the same thing that you did for those others? Or are you willing to do it for me? Folks, God ain't no respecter of persons. If you need something in your life, he knows it, and if you'll go to him, he will do it for you just as he did for everyone else. Amen. If God tells you, and if you believe, if you come to him and believe, and if you're coming to him, there's got to be some belief in there. And this man said, I believe, but just help my unbelief. You know what the best thing to help unbelief is? To see it for your own eyes and to let it be true. And Jesus, it says he spoke to the spirit, cast him out. The boy fell down like he was dead. You're talking about helping your unbelief when all of a sudden you see Jesus move upon the situation which you prayed about. When you see Jesus reach down, the Holy Ghost start to move and to minister. You've been praying about something for years and years and years. There's been a situation in your life. Maybe it was a health issue. Maybe it's a financial issue. Maybe it's some kind of trouble with somebody else or problem with somebody. But you have been praying for years and years. And you believe and you keep praying, believing. But you're like, God, I believe. But God, help my belief. Help when the devil tries to put the doubt. Give me the help. Finally, Jesus says, I can see your faith. I hear your words. Here, this will help you believe. And it says he cast out the demon and made the boy whole. And everybody else starts to think and look at him. He's just laying there like he's sick or dead. And it says Jesus reached down his hand, picked him up and says, rise up and let's go. Rise up. Excuse me. Rise up and let's walk. And it says, and he arose. There are going to be times in our life where we might hit the spot where we're either like that dad, where we've reached everything, we've reached our limit, we can't go on no more because of something happening with somebody in our life. It might be us, we might be the child that has been the one that's been demonly possessed and oppressed, and we can't take it anymore either. And it's time for that miracle, for God to reach down and to deliver us. Well, folks, all you've got to do is believe that your miracle is coming, that your miracle is on the way, and you can reach out and get a hold of it. It doesn't matter who's tried before. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life. Just like the woman with the issue of blood, cast aside by her family, cast aside by the doctors. We can't do nothing else. But if you will reach up by faith and get a hold of Jesus, get a hold of the hem of His garment and hang on believing, your miracle is on the way. Amen. God can deliver, God can heal, God can minister, God can change, God can deliver, God can do it all if we'll just trust. Amen. And believe in Him. Yeah. Come to the instruments. Revelations 12. John says this. I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God, the power of His Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God both day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of thy testimony, and they loved not their lives until the death. I heard a voice saying from heaven, now salvation is come. Now, right now. Boy, there's a time in our life when we need stuff. And most of us, it's right now. I need it now. Can't go on no further. I need it now. Gotta have it. Need it now. Is it fourth quarter yet? You might be thinking, oh yeah, trust me. Halftime was a washout. The show was terrible. It's fourth quarter. I can guarantee you it's fourth quarter, but maybe it's not. Maybe you ain't playing as hard as long as you thought you had been. But Jesus says, your miracle is coming. Your miracle is on the way if you will just hold on. What did it say here? And they overcame him by the blood, overcame the accuser, talking about the accuser, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. Having trouble? Change your testimony to my miracle's about to happen. Change that testimony about it's right around the corner. I'm entering into that home. There's 2 minute warnings right up. I know I'm about to get my miracle. I told you, you heard it from the big boys. Yeah, wrestling is scripted. TV was on this morning. There was some stupid show on. Of course, most of it is. And I was going to tell her, she was like, oh, and I'm like, it's scripted. It's one of those reality shows. It's scripted. Everybody's going to do just what they was told to do. It's going to end just like it's supposed to end. It's scripted. Just like wrestling. It's scripted, and that's the way it's going to be. It's going to end. It's going to be a fun show, but it's going to end the way it's going to end. Just like the Super Bowl. Who's scheduled to win this year? Call the Vegas bookies. Don't put no bets. Call them, see who they got. You find out real quick who's supposed to win it this year. Who's going to be the winner? It's all scripted. Let's get it figured out. But now here's something that's cool, folks. Let me get these out or I'll forget. Our lives are scripted. Amen. Isn't this cool? Yeah. I don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know who's going to win the wrestling match. They do. I don't. My life, I know who's going to win it. Amen. It's scripted. Yeah. And I read at the end, we win. Yeah. We win. It might be tough, it might be rough, but the scripture scripted it and said, those who follow Jesus are going to win. Those get to hear those words, guys, I've been waiting. You think a Super Bowl party is good with all the food? Wait till you see the marriage supper of the Lamb. You talking about a buffet. You talking about fun. That's where it's going to be, folks. It's scripted, and I'm in the script. I get to go to heaven. I'm following Christ. My fourth quarter miracle, it might not be there yet. I'm waiting for it, but it doesn't matter because the script says I'm still going to win. The bookies can bet against me all they want. I'm still going to win because I've got the blood of the Lamb applied to my life. I'm saved, I'm sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost. I'm going to make heaven my home. I'm not worried about what Satan's going to try to do. I'm not worried if he's going to inflate, deflate, whatever else he's going to do to try to win the game. It doesn't matter. I've already won. Because Jesus